Hello, Make Idaho Better fans. Notice anything different? My spectacles are gone. I had LASIK eye surgery and my eyes look a little crazy. So hopefully that doesn't make anybody sick. But we're going to talk about the latest analysis. Let's do it. Okay. So first things first, what is Make Idaho Better? Make Idaho Better is the easiest way for you or any other Idahoan to be a part of solutions, okay? We can help our leaders help us. The way we can do that is by making it super easy for them to know what we think, what we've experienced, and what we hope about things. So my job is making surveys about important state and local issues, and you can just fill these out in just a couple minutes. I collect all that data, I analyze it, I give it back to you, and I give it to these leaders so they can do something about it. So, if you want to be a part of that, click this "Do Your Part" button. Join our email list, and you'll be getting all the surveys. And then, if you respond to the survey, you'll also get an email with the analysis. All right, the survey we're talking about this week is about respect, and about how we respect each other and how different groups of feel respect or don't. And like any of our surveys, the actual survey is here for you to check out and click the link to see it. Here's a screenshot at the top of it. Also, the overall results are here. So you can click this and see exactly how where the answers fell. Come on, internet. Come on. This is slower than usual. I'm sorry. Okay, so you can see it like this first question, how many people answered which way, and this is auto updating if anybody else takes it. And then the analysis is down here, and I always have a GIF. GIFs make things better. And this is RESPECT. Yeah, Ariana Franklin, I believe. My pop culture sucks, so don't judge me, please. All right, and here's the analysis. We're going to skip the name takeaways for now. We can come back to that because I'm going to walk you through it. So we got a table of contents here. I mentioned that basically these analysis posts are me breaking down those overall results that everybody gets to see. I can show you kind of patterns across different demographics or groups, show where people are in agreement and where people are different and which kind of fault lines there are. So here's the link to that page we were on previously. Now, it's always good to think about the demographics of this survey respondents. So I always put this at the beginning. So we heard from more women than men. That always seems to happen. Not every survey. Some surveys it's even, but I think women just care more in general about most of the things that I'm surveying on. And then here's our age breakdown. Pretty darn even. You know, we heard from the most people in their 60s and then a lot in their 20s, but that's pretty spread out. That's pretty nice. And then on counties, we heard from a little over half of our response were from Ada County, around Boise, but we had participation from all across Idaho, and you can see kind of these were the counties that the other counties we got the most from. All right. So first things first, I asked a lot of demographic questions in this one because that's really important to keep in mind when you talk about this topic. So respect. Not everybody gets the same amount of respect. And I believe that has a lot to do with kind of who you are and how you see people that are different than you. So I wanted to ask all these demographic questions so that I could see how different groups talked about respect differently. So here they all are. We've got, race, and about 15% were considered a minority. We've got religion, sexual orientation, yada, yada, yada. We've got all this stuff. Typically across all of these, we're looking at about 15 to 25% on each category were considered a minority. So that's kind of a valuable thing that we can think about. So in religion, the majority, it's not really a majority. In this respondent group, it's a plurality. So what didn't meet it wasn't over 50%, but the biggest one was 30%, and that was Christianity. So we actually heard from more people that didn't identify as Christian than people that did. So that's a bigger minority group. But besides them, we basically got somewhere between 15 and 25% that identify kind of as a minority. So here that would be people that say they're poor, people that have a disability, people that are not straight, and people that are not white. So, but I also wanted to get a sense of like across these categories, how do people respond? This is called like intersectionality. So people aren't just one identity, right? I'm not just a man. I'm also white. I'm also straight. So like all those things together kind of influence the way that I see myself and I relate to other people. So I was able to count up how many minority statuses every respondent had. And check it out, less than 20%, I'm going to say that's 17%, don't have any minority statuses. That means over 80% have at least one minority status. So my first thought on that is, wow, actually, seems like, if we extrapolate this out, and if it was like this in, across all of Idaho, seems like most people would benefit from us having a more inclusive society. So like taking care of minorities is not just for helping a small group of people. You don't know which minority people are. So if we work on this across the board, we can help most people. So yeah, some people were a minority in every status. That was kind of impressive. Okay. So let's start with a context question. So do you agree that everyone deserves respect? I definitely believe that. I thought most people would believe this. Like, I thought almost everybody would put strongly agree, because I feel like that's kind of like a human rights, human dignity kind of thing. Like we all deserve to be treated with respect, but not everybody said that, at least not in strongly agree. We're about 80% that are agree or strongly agree, but I thought it was going to be more heavily strongly agree. And then we've got this group that's about 15% that says, no, not everyone deserves respect. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, I'm not sure that this means that, well, I think that what this could mean is, and this was in a lot of the comments, like, people don't deserve respect, they earn respect. You deserve respect if you behave in a way that earns it. But also people had kind of different ideas of what respect was, and like whether or not respect is like a conditional thing. Like if you do certain things, you deserve respect, otherwise you don't. So there's more disagreement on this than I thought. I'm glad I asked it, because it's not quite as clear-cut as I thought it might be. Okay, and then we're gonna look at this as a stacked bar, so we can see like how across these minority counts that we just talked about, like people answered. So except for this 5 group, but that wasn't a lot of people, so let's just kind of not pay too much attention to that. It's about the same percentage that are, one of these green categories of agreeing. About 80% between 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, the outlier seems to be here. If you have 3 minority statuses, you might be less likely to say that everyone deserves respect. That's interesting. I'm guessing that doesn't mean like they're more judgmental. I'm guessing it means like I don't feel as much respect, or I feel more exposed in a demographic sense than other people, and the fact that like people aren't respecting me, maybe they don't deserve respect. Maybe that's one take. Okay, now we wanted to do like a personal experience question. So like, how often do you feel disrespected? So we've got every day, 2 answers here that say basically at least, weekly basis, 2 here that say a monthly basis, and 1 that's less than monthly. So this is the biggest one, but I'm guessing these are mostly people that don't have as much minority kind of exposure. Let's check it out. So I bucketed these into categories, make it easier to visualize. So every day, weekly, monthly, and less. So there's the 2 answers are in here and the 2 answers are in here. And then I did these more minority statuses into buckets too. 0, no minority statuses, 1 to 2 minority statuses, or 3 to 5. And check this out. The people, look at how many more people that have 3 to 5 minority statuses feel disrespected every day. It's about 5 to 10 times more proportionally than the 0, no minority status, or the 1 to 2 minority statuses. That's wild. And then, yeah, they're much less likely to say that they don't get discriminated on a monthly basis or more. So that hypothesis that I had is correct. People that are feeling less discrimination, much more likely to be people that don't have minority status. Okay. Another way to look at respect is kind of, is your perspective valued? And by that, I kind of think like in decisions of some sort, or like people are going to, take a stand on something and it affects multiple people. Like, who do they get people's feedback on? So that could be at your job, that could be in your local government, or other communities, your homeowners association, or your neighborhood association, or I don't know, examples. And generally people, the biggest answer here was yes, my perspective is valued. But again, I'm like, are these the people without much minority exposure? Because I'm guessing people with more minorities are left out more often. So to me, this was a lot about, this question kind of seemed like a way to get at inclusivity. Like, are you not being included in the important stuff because you're different in some way? So let's look at it by those minority statuses. So this is interesting here because I'm looking at this 3 to 5 again group with lots of minority status, minority counts. Look at them here. They answered proportionally more, yes, absolutely, my perspective is valued, than these other 2 groups. But they also were much more, and this one stands out even more, is that no, my perspective is not valued. So they're kind of polarized. There's a group of them that are like, yeah, I'm totally being included, and there's a group that are like, no, I'm not being included, and they're definitely the biggest here on the no, definitely not. So I think that might. So I saw that and I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if these are certain types of minority statuses, like ones that people are more aware of and make more of an effort to include than others. And maybe these are certain other minorities that are less kind of included generally. And I looked into it, and it actually looked like the differences weren't as strong for race or ethnicity, or what was the other one? Religion. Those ones didn't seem like, if you were the minority or the majority, there was a really big difference on how you kind of perceive this. The biggest differences were 3 other ones. Sexual orientation, whether or not you're poor, or whether or not you have a disability. Those are the ones that really had the biggest differences between whether you're a minority or majority. That was really interesting to me. Okay. And then I asked, like, how important is it that you get more respect? So this is kind of like, how okay are you with the amount of respect you're currently getting? So, most are in the middle, somewhat important. But I wanted to know, are these people that are, people like me that have a lot of privilege, white, straight men, are those, there are a lot of advantages. People don't look at me and discriminate against me. That just doesn't happen in Idaho. That's true. And that's like not how it is for everybody. So there's real stuff here. So broke it down to show, these same kind of minority status counts by like how important it is that you get more respect. Okay, these 3 to 5 minorities care a lot more about getting more respect than these other two groups. Which totally makes sense to me. If you have 0 minority statuses and you like, everybody wants more respect. Nobody likes being disrespected, but you're starting from up here. If you're like, have no minority statuses. So you're white, Christian, all the other stuff, straight, like you're already like up here. People aren't looking at you and being like, I don't know. Versus if you're down here, like this person doesn't typically want more respect as much as the person that's like lowest on the totem pole. And if they think the people at the top think that they do, like kind of get some more perspective, man, or woman or whatever. Open your mind that like you are not having as much trouble with this as other people are. Okay. So yeah, people with more minority statuses, it's more important to them that they get more respect than people without it. That's what I thought. Okay, here's a trend question. Are people getting more or less respectful where you live? Overall, people are like, it's not changing or it's getting worse, which is sad, but that is also my experience. I think that we're getting more everybody's talking about how we're getting more and more polarized. And, the national political stuff, it all trickles down. And then, we're kind of always fighting on social media. So this doesn't surprise me. And then by those kind of minority counts, they actually, I was really curious to know the people that have more minority exposure, what they think. And they think it's getting worse, this orange and red proportion. To them, they answer that it's getting worse more often than these other groups did. So they're feeling it's getting worse more. In fact, over half of them said it's getting worse. And yeah, about the same amount of people said it's getting better, but much less said it's not changing, which is sad. But I think the minority status people will be the ones with the best read on it. They have the most sensitivity to it. They're exposed to it the most. So like, I think that they probably, if we're going to ask anybody, we should ask them. Okay, here's our last chart. Well, we got one more chart after this, but this is the last question. This is a meaty question. I asked everybody, do you think these different groups of people are getting discriminated on a regular basis? Yes, maybe, no, or I don't know. And this is a weighted average. So this is a comparison. So lots of people said probably, no, none of these people are getting discriminated on a regular basis. Some people said probably all of these are getting discriminated on a regular basis, but this is how it shook out across everybody. And the big three that people thought were the most disrespected are poor people, racial minorities, and LGBTQ people. The least are men. I will second that. I think this whole men thinking they're being discriminated against stuff just because women or minorities want more respect is kind of BS. Like, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not like it's a pie, and if they get more, you get less. No, we can all be respected. So that's kind of some BS. Yeah. Okay. And then I was curious about this young people and old people. Looks like old people got the edge on the young people in terms of who's getting more disrespect. But we did hear from the biggest age category was 60s. So maybe we've got a little more sympathetic people there. Anyway, one that I wanted to draw out specifically is this people with disabilities here. Like I said, in some of these other questions, I segmented it and I saw that people with disabilities, that one had a big impact on the way that you felt respect. Same with poor people and LGBTQ people. Those were the ones where the most. Racial minorities, I think people put a lot of attention on, and there is a lot of disrespect because of that. But it's interesting that the disabilities one didn't kind of rise up as high as it looked to me like how influential it was based on other questions. So I think this one is kind of under the radar. Certainly a lot of people know that people are being disrespected that have disabilities, but I think people don't realize it enough. So I called this one out specifically. How do people with this, how regularly are they disrespecting? These were the 4 options: yes, maybe, no, or I don't know. And I wanted to look at how do people with disabilities answer this, and how do people that don't have disabilities answer this proportionally. Get this, over about twice as many people said yes that have disabilities than no. That's a bigger difference than I saw in other things. And to me, that maybe means that this is one kind of minority status that isn't paid as much attention to, and maybe we should pay more attention to it. Because people that are feeling it are, these are not in line, the people that don't have it, how much they think they get, disrespected versus people that do have it. Like, this needs to be closer. Like, there should be, more understanding on people that don't have disabilities about the disrespect that these people feel. So we need to get better. Okay, insightful comments. I'm not going to go through these, but please, please, please check these out. I pulled out the questions or the answers that are the most insightful, not necessarily the ones I agree with. I pull out on all kind of sides of these issues, but I think we're the most kind of representative or insightful or a really smart way to think about it, or just a really interesting way to think about it. And I've bolded keywords and phrases to help you skim. So you don't have to read everything. Just kind of look through here and see which topics kind of grab your attention. So these are the things that people pay too much attention to. And then we've got things that, about this topic, what doesn't get enough attention. Same thing. So check that out. And if you saw this, here's our respect GIF. Tip the respect hat. I believe that's Derek Jeter's nephew or something. I always try to get a little backstory on the GIF I end up choosing. Cute little boy with the respect hat that he's tipping. I think Derek Jeter had like a walk-off single, so that's well played, little guy. But if you read this analysis and you think that we didn't hear from enough different points of view, and you want to reject the findings and the interpretations, you could be right. You know what helps with that? If you would participate and make sure that your voice is heard, and try to help increase the amount of people that participate as well. Because the more participation we get, the better the findings will be, and the better positive impact this can have on all of us, but also our leaders can get a better understanding. So please help out. And then the top findings are, it really struck me that like most people have at least one minority status or more. So that means a lot of people are going to benefit if we pay more attention to these minorities. It's not like only 20% will benefit. Also, people that have more minority statuses care a lot more about getting respect. No surprise. And then lastly, we need to pay more attention to people that have disabilities. I think they're getting less attention. They should get more. Anyway, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.